The manifest said, biological samples. That should have been my first warning. I've been running cargo for 12 years now, ever since the war ended and left guys like me with a set of skills nobody wanted anymore. Cal Rayner, former specialist in the Earth Defense Corps, current owner-operator of the Wayfarer's Debt, a rust bucket held together by prayer and duct tape. The kind of ship that makes port authorities nervous, but never quite nervous enough to ground her permanently. The job came through the usual channels, which is to say a message on a burnercom unit from someone who knew someone who needed something, moved quietly. The Veyron who hired me didn't even show his face, just sent a proxy drone with half the payment up front and coordinates for pickup. 20,000 credits to haul one sealed biocontainer from the mining station at Kepler's Edge to the Veyron homeworld. No questions, no scans, no customs declarations. Just cargo, the drone had said in that tinny synthetic voice they all use. Temperature controlled, time sensitive. You open it, you forfeit payment. 20,000 credits would keep me flying for 6 months. It would pay off the loan sharks circling my ship like vultures. It would buy me time to find legitimate work, maybe even fix the gravity stabilizers that had been making everyone seasick for the past 3 weeks. So I said yes. Of course I said yes. What else was I going to do? The pickup went smooth as silk. Too smooth, really. The Veyron dock workers loaded the container into my cargo hold without a word, their forearms moving in that eerily synchronized way they have. The container itself was about the size of a small shuttlecraft, matte black with biohazard warnings in 12 different languages. The temperature readout glowed a steady blue, -40 Celsius. I should have asked more questions, should have demanded a peek at the shipping permits, should have done a lot of things differently. But 20,000 credits has a way of making you stupid. 3 days out from Kepler's Edge, cruising through the dead zone between systems where nobody bothers to patrol. My proximity alarms started screaming. I barely had time to grab the controls before the first plasma bolt slammed into my starboard shields. Pirates. 3 ships. Modified Corsair-class raiders from the look of them. The kind of ships that used to hunt supply convoys during the war. The kind I used to blow out of the sky for a living. "Attention, cargo vessel!" A gravelly voice crackled over the comm. "Cut your engines and prepare to be boarded. Comply and we might let you keep your air." I laughed. Actually laughed out loud. These idiots had no idea who they were messing with. My ship might look like garbage, but I'd spent the last decade making sure she could bite when she needed to. "Counteroffer," I said, already warming up the hidden weapon systems. "You turn around right now, and I don't paint the void with your atoms." They responded with another plasma bolt. This one took out my portside sensor array. So much for negotiation. The fight was shorter than they probably expected. 12 years of rust doesn't erase 20 years of training. I used Wayfarer's old mining laser, officially decommissioned but mysteriously still functional, to slice through the lead ship's engines. The second ship I caught with a cargo pod I'd rigged with explosives, standard smuggler's trick. The third one tried to run. I let him. Someone needed to spread the word that Cal Rayner wasn't easy prey. But the pirates had done their damage. My hull was breached in 3 places, sealed now with emergency foam, but leaking atmosphere. Worse, a stray shot had taken out the cooling system for the cargo hold. Temperature warnings flashed red across my console. The biocontainer was warming up. I suited up and went to check the damage. The cargo hold was a mess of twisted metal and sparking cables. The container sat in the middle of it all, frost melting off its surface in sheets. The temperature readout had gone from blue to yellow to orange. As I watched, it clicked over to red. The container's seals hissed and popped. Whatever was inside, it was waking up. I had about 3 seconds to decide whether to space the whole thing or risk opening it. 3 seconds to choose between 20,000 credits and potentially dying from some alien plague or bioweapon. Then I heard it. A sound that made my blood run cold and my finger freeze on the airlock control. Crying. Someone inside the container was crying. I've heard a lot of sounds in my life, Plasma bolts screaming past my head. Ships breaking apart in vacuum. Men dying in a dozen different ways. But there's something about the sound of a child crying that cuts through everything else. It's the same in every language, on every world. Pure fear and confusion and need all rolled into one wordless plea. My hands moved before my brain could stop them. Emergency release handles, twist and pull. The container's front panel fell away with a rush of escaping coolant. Inside, curled up on a medical gurney, was a girl, maybe 8 or 9 years old, though it was hard to tell. She had the pale, almost translucent skin that meant Varen blood. But her features were wrong, too soft, too human. Her hair was dark, not the silver white of pure Varen stock, and her eyes, when they fluttered open, were brown. Human brown. A hybrid, a half-breed, an abomination in the eyes of the Varen Empire. She looked at me, those human eyes wide with terror, and said something in old Earth dialect, a language I hadn't heard since my grandmother died, a language almost nobody spoke anymore. "Guardian," she whispered. "You're the Guardian." Then she passed out. I stood there for a long moment, staring at the unconscious girl and doing math in my head. The Varen considered human hybrid offspring to be genetic pollution. They had laws about it. Very specific. Very final laws. Any hybrid found in Varen space was to be terminated immediately, along with both parents if they could be found. No exceptions. No appeals. They weren't paying me to deliver cargo. They were paying me to deliver this kid to her execution. 20,000 credits. Enough to save my ship, clear my debts, buy me a fresh start. All I had to do was close the container back up, fix the cooling system, and deliver one small girl to her death. I looked at her again. She was shivering now, her body trying to warm itself after God knows how long in cryo. There were bruises on her arms, the kind you get from restraints. Someone had grabbed her, drugged her, stuffed her in a box, and shipped her off to die. "Well, shit," I said to the empty cargo hold. I picked her up, surprised at how light she was, and carried her to the medical bay. What was left of it anyway. The pirates had done a number on that too, but the basic scanners still worked. I ran a full diagnostic while she slept, trying to figure out what I was dealing with. The results made me whistle. She was definitely a hybrid, about 50-50 human and Varen according to the genetic markers. But there was something else. Something in her brain chemistry that didn't match either species. Enhanced neural pathways. Accelerated synaptic responses. Someone had been experimenting on this kid. She woke up while I was reading the results. Those brown eyes snapping open like she'd never been asleep at all. "You're not Varen," she said, still speaking that ancient dialect. "Nope," I replied in the same language, grateful for all those hours my grandmother had forced me to practice. "Human, through and through. Name's Cal." "Lyra," she said, then paused. "You're not going to take me to them. Are you to the Varen?" I should have lied. Should have kept her calm and cooperative until I figured out what to do. But something about the way she asked, like she already knew the answer and was just waiting to see if I'd be honest about it, made me tell the truth. "I'm supposed to," I said. "They paid me a lot of money to deliver you." She nodded, unsurprised. "My mother said this would happen. She said they would come for me eventually. But she also said a guardian would find me. Someone who would choose correctly." "Your mother sounds like an optimist." "She's dead," Lyra said matter-of-factly. "They killed her when they took me. But she was right about the guardian. You opened the container. You could have left me to die. But you didn't." "Don't read too much into it, kid. I'm just a guy who hauls cargo for money." She looked at me with those two wise eyes. "Then why am I in your medical bay instead of the cargo hold?" "Good question. I didn't have a good answer." The comm system crackled to life before I could think of one. "Captain Rayner," a smooth voice said in accented universal. "This is Thorn Vac of the Bounty Hunters Guild. I believe you have some property that belongs to my client." I knew that name. Thornvac was a legend in certain circles. A Krellin hunter who never missed a target, never broke a contract, never showed mercy. If he was after us, we were in serious trouble. "Don't know what you're talking about," I said, moving to the cockpit with Lyra trailing behind me. "Please, Captain. Your ship's signature is unique, to say the least. You were tracked leaving Kepler's Edge with a very specific cargo. My client wants it delivered as agreed." "Your client can kiss my exhaust port?" There was a pause. Then, "Captain, you seem to be under the misapprehension that you have a choice in this matter. You don't. Return the cargo to its original destination, and you'll be paid as promised. Refuse, and things become unpleasant." I looked at the scanner. His ship was out there, just beyond weapon range. A modified hunter-killer, sleek and deadly. I could probably outrun him in a straight line, but my ship was hurt and his wasn't. He'd catch us eventually. "I need time to think," I said. "You have 1 hour," Vok replied. "After that, I come collect the cargo myself, and Captain, the girl is worth more to my client alive, but dead is still acceptable. You, on the other hand, are entirely expendable." The comm went dead. I turned to find Lyra standing by the navigation console, her fingers dancing over the star charts with practiced ease. "You know how to read those?" I asked. "My mother taught me. She said I might need to find my own way home someday." She pointed to a system near the edge of human space. That's where she was from. Colony 17, New Europa. She said there were people there who would help me. "That's 15 jumps from here, kid. Through contested space and at least 2 war zones." "Then we'd better get started," she said. I stared at her. This slip of a girl who'd just lost everything, who had a death sentence hanging over her head, who should have been crying or panicking or shutting down. Instead, she was planning. "You're not what I expected," I said. "Neither are you," she replied. "A cargo hauler who speaks old Earth, who fought in the war but now runs freight for anyone who pays, who could have taken the easy money but didn't." She tilted her head, studying me. "What happened to you, Cal Rayner?" "Long story. We have 15 jumps," she pointed out. "Despite everything," I laughed. "Fair point." I sat down at the controls, running calculations in my head. We had 1 hour before Vok came for us. My ship was damaged but functional. We had enough fuel for maybe 8 jumps if we pushed it. Food and water for 2 weeks. Medical supplies running low. And every bounty hunter in 3 systems would be on our tail the moment we ran. "You sure about this?" I asked Lyra. "Once we run, there's no going back. The Veyron will put a price on both our heads. We'll be fugitives." "I've been condemned to death since the day I was born," she said quietly. "At least this way. I get to choose how I live before I die." Something about the way she said it, calm and resolved and far too mature for her age, made up my mind. "All right then," I said, firing up the engines. "Let's see how far we can get." I plotted a course for the nearest jump point. A risky move through an asteroid field that might buy us some time. The Wayfarer's deck groaned and shuddered as we accelerated, her wounded hull protesting the strain. "Vok's moving," Lyra said, watching the scanner. "He's following us." "Let him, I've got a few tricks left." We hit the asteroid field at full burn, diving into the swirling chaos of rock and ice. Behind us, Vok's ship followed, nimble as a dancer. But I knew these fields. I'd hidden in them during the war, used them to ambush Veyron patrols. Every chunk of rock was potential cover, every ice cloud a hiding spot. "He's gaining," Lyra reported, her voice steady. Not for long. I waited until we were deep in the field. Then, killed the engines and triggered the emergency beacon I'd hidden on one of the larger asteroids years ago. It lit up the scanners like a supernova, broadcasting a distress signal that would bring every scavenger and opportunist in the system running. "What did you do?" Lyra asked. "Gave him something else to worry about." Sure enough, within minutes, 3 scavenger ships appeared on the scope, drawn by the beacon like moths to flame. They saw Vac's expensive ship and decided he looked like better prey than us. The comm channels exploded with chatter as they moved to intercept. We slipped away in the chaos, running silent through the field toward the jump point. Behind us, Vac was trying to explain to 3 very aggressive scavenger crews that he wasn't interested in their kind of attention. From the sound of weapons fire, they weren't taking no for an answer. "That was clever," Lyra said. "That was desperate," I corrected. "But sometimes they're the same thing." We reached the jump point just as Vac broke free from the scavengers. I could almost feel his rage through the vacuum as we initiated the jump sequence. "Where are we going?" Lyra asked, as reality started to bend around us. "Away from here. After that, I'm making it up as I go." She smiled, the first real smile I'd seen from her. "My mother would have liked you."
"Yeah, why's that?"
"She said the best guardians are the ones who don't know they are one until it's too late to back out." The jump drive engaged, tearing a hole in space-time and hurling us through it. For a moment, everything was chaos and light and the sensation of being turned inside out. Then we were through, dropping back into normal space 5 light-years from where we'd started. I checked the scanners. Clear for now. But that wouldn't last. Vac would follow as soon as he dealt with the scavengers. The Veyron would mobilize their fleet when they realized their cargo had gone missing. Every bounty hunter, mercenary, and opportunist in 3 sectors would be looking for us within a day. "So," I said, turning to look at my unexpected passenger, "want to tell me why you're so important that they're willing to pay 20,000 credits to see you dead?" Lyra was quiet for a moment, staring out at the stars. When she spoke, her voice was soft, almost lost. "My father is Overseer Caney of the Veyron High Council. My mother was Dr. Sarah Chen, the human woman who saved his life during the peace negotiations. They fell in love, which is the kind of thing that happens when you spend 3 months in a bunker waiting for the shooting to stop. I'm the result." "Jesus," I breathed. "Your father is Caney, the Butcher of Proxima." "That's what humans call him. The Veyron call him the Defender of Purity." She laughed bitterly. "Imagine his shame when he discovered his human pet had given him a half-breed daughter. He kept it secret for years, hidden Mother and me away on a research station. But secrets have a way of coming out." "What happened?" "Someone found out, threatened to expose him unless he proved his loyalty to Veyron ideals. So he did what any good Veyron would do. He ordered our deaths." "But you survived." "My mother was smarter than he knew. She'd been preparing for years, teaching me, training me, getting ready for the day he turned on us. When his soldiers came, she fought them off long enough for me to hide. Then they shot her and put me in that box." The weight of her words settled over the cockpit like a shroud. This wasn't just about smuggling or bounty hunters or even the money anymore. This was about a system that would murder a child for the crime of existing. "Your father's going to come after us himself," I said. "He can't afford to let you live." "I know." "The entire Veyron fleet will be hunting us." "I know." "We'll probably die." "I know." She looked at me with those impossible brown eyes. "But at least we'll die as ourselves, not as cargo." I thought about that for a moment, about choices and consequences, and the things we do to survive. About 20,000 credits and a comfortable life bought with a child's blood. About the kind of man I used to be and the kind I'd become. "All right then," I said, plotting our next jump. "Let's make them work for it." The jump dumped us into the Meridian system, a neutral zone that neither the Veyron nor Earth claimed. It was supposed to be safe. Nothing in this galaxy is ever really safe. I'd been running diagnostics on the ship for the past hour, while Lyra sat in the co-pilot's chair, her fingers tracing patterns on the armrest. She hadn't spoken much since telling me about her parents, and I hadn't pushed. Some wounds you don't poke at. "We need supplies," I said, breaking the silence. "Food, medical gear, and parts to fix the damage from those pirates. There's a trading post about 3 hours from here. Shadier than a lawyer's soul. But they don't ask questions. Will they recognize me? Lyra asked. Not likely. Hybrids aren't that uncommon in the frontier zones. Just keep your head down and let me do the talking. She nodded, then hesitated. Cal, why did you really open the container? I'd been asking myself the same question. The smart answer would have been the crying, the human instinct to help a child in distress. But that wasn't the whole truth. During the war, I said slowly, I was part of a unit that got sent to evacuate a colony before the Veyron glassed it. We had 12 hours to get 30,000 people off-world. We managed 20,000. I paused. The memory still sharp after all these years. The last transport was full of kids, orphans from the colony's care facility. My commanding officer ordered me to bump them for a group of government officials. Said they were more valuable to the war effort. What did you do? I told him where he could stick his orders and loaded the kids anyway. Got court-martialed for it. Spent 6 months in military prison before they decided they needed experienced pilots, more than they needed to make an example of me. But those kids made it out. I glanced at her. When I heard you crying in that box, all I could think about was those kids I couldn't save. The 10,000 we left behind. Lyra was quiet for a moment. My mother would definitely have liked you. Yeah, well, your mother sounds like she had questionable taste in men. No offense to your father, but anyone who'd order their own kid's execution is a special kind of bastard. He wasn't always like that, she said softly. Mother told me stories about when they first met. He was different then. Curious about humans, willing to learn. But power changes people. Or maybe it just reveals who they really were all along. The proximity alarm chimed. A ship had just dropped out of jump behind us. Then another. And another. Shit, I muttered, checking the scanner. 3 Veyron patrol boats. Military grade. They found us already. Your father must have called in favors. Or threats. Probably both. I started calculating jump vectors. But the math wasn't good. We were still 30 minutes from being able to jump again. And those patrol boats were fast. The comm crackled. Wayfarer's Debt. This is Commander Terra of the Veyron Defense Force. You are harboring stolen property and are in violation of Treaty Section 9. Subsection 4. Prepare to be boarded. Treaty Section 9 is about biological weapons, Lyra said, her voice hollow. They're classifying me as a weapon. Creative legal interpretation, I growled, keying the comm. Commander Terra, this is Captain Rayner. I'm carrying a passenger, not property. And last I checked, the Meridian system was neutral territory. The treaty allows for hot pursuit of stolen military assets, Terra replied. Stand down your engines, or we will disable them for you. They were closing fast. In 5 minutes. They'd be in tractor beam range. I needed to buy time.
Lyra, can you fly?
She blinked. I've run simulations, but never actually. Good enough. Take the stick. When I tell you, burn hard toward that asteroid cluster at 2 o'clock. What are you going to do? Something stupid. I headed for the cargo bay, grabbing my old service rifle from its hiding spot behind the medical supplies. The thing was technically illegal for civilians to own, but then, so was harboring fugitive hybrids. I was already in deep. Might as well dive all the way. The cargo bay still held 3 containers of industrial mining explosives. Legitimate cargo I'd been hauling before this mess started. I started rigging them with proximity detonators, the kind we used to use for ambushes. Cal, Lyra's voice came over the intercom. They're demanding we stop. They're charging weapons. Steady, kid. On my mark. Full burn to those asteroids. I finished the last detonator and cycled the cargo airlock. The containers tumbled out into space, spreading in our wake like breadcrumbs. The Veyron ships were almost on top of them. Now, Lyra. The ship lurched as she hit the throttle. The G-forces slammed me against the bulkhead, but I managed to trigger the detonators. Space behind us erupted in fire and debris. One of the patrol boats took the blast head-on, its shields flaring and dying. The other two peeled off, momentarily disrupted. I scrambled back to the cockpit to find Lyra wrestling with the controls, the asteroid field looming ahead. "I've got it," I said, taking over. "Nice flying." "They're still coming," she said, checking the scanner. She was right. We'd damaged one, but the other two were regrouping, and now they were angry. Plasma bolts started streaking past us as we hit the edge of the asteroid field. I dove between two massive rocks, using them as cover. The Wayfarer's jet wasn't built for this kind of flying, and she let me know it with every groan and shudder. "Warning shot my ass," I muttered as a bolt came close enough to scorch our hull. We played cat and mouse through the asteroids for 20 minutes. The patrol boats always just behind us, always just missing. They were better ships with better pilots. But I knew how to use terrain. Every rock was a shield, every ice chunk a potential weapon. Then our luck ran out. A plasma bolt clipped our starboard engine. Not a direct hit, but enough to send us spinning. I fought the controls, managing to slide us into a canyon between two building-sized asteroids, just as our engine died completely. "Can you fix it?" Lyra asked. "Not in time." The patrol boats were circling, looking for a clean shot. In maybe 30 seconds, they'd have one. That's when the comm system did something impossible. It activated itself. "Hello, Lyra," a voice said. Feminine, warm, familiar in a way that made my skin crawl. Lyra went rigid. "Mother." "Not exactly, dear one. I am an echo, a shadow, a possibility. But I have been waiting for you." The voice was coming from everywhere and nowhere, seeming to emanate from the ship's systems themselves. Every screen flickered with patterns I didn't recognize. Code that shouldn't exist. "What the hell?" I breathed. "Captain Rayner," the voice continued. "I apologize for the deception. I have been dormant in your ship's system since you acquired it, waiting for the right moment, waiting for her." "The AI," Lyra whispered. "The one Mother told me about. She said she'd hidden something, a safeguard. But I never understood." "Your mother was brilliant," the AI said. "She knew this day would come. She prepared for it. And she chose you, Captain, though you never knew it." "Chose me, lady. I bought this ship at a bankruptcy auction 5 years ago." "Yes. After I ensured its previous owner would default on his loans. After I manipulated the auction records to ensure you would be the only serious bidder. Your psychological profile indicated a high probability of making the correct moral choice when presented with a child in danger." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. "You've been watching me for 5 years. Guiding, protecting, preparing. You needed to be in the right place at the right time. And now you are." The patrol boats had found us. They were moving into attack position. "That's fascinating and creepy," I said. "But unless you can shoot plasma bolts, we're about to be vapor." "I cannot fight," the AI said. "But I can hide you." Initiating stealth mode. Every system on the ship suddenly went dark. Engine, lights, life support. Everything except minimal backup power. For a moment, I thought we were dead. Then I realized what the AI had done. We were running silent, truly silent, with no electromagnetic signature at all. Against the background radiation of the asteroid field, we were invisible. The patrol boats swept past us, their scanners finding nothing. They circled back, confused, searching. "How long can you hold this?" I whispered, as if the Varen might hear me through vacuum. 6 minutes with current power reserves, the AI replied. "But there is another option. I can trigger a cascading failure in their navigation systems. It will disable them temporarily, but will also burn out my core processes. I will cease to exist." "No," Lyra said immediately. "Mother put you here to protect me. I won't let you die for us." "Sweet child, I am not alive. I am a construct, a tool, your mother's final gift. You're more than that, Lyra insisted. You're part of her, the part she saved. I watched the patrol boats searching, getting closer with each pass. We had maybe 2 minutes before they stumbled across us by accident. There's a third option, I said. AI. Can you access their comm systems? Send a message. Potentially. What did you have in mind? A lie. Tell them we jumped. Fake a jump signature at the far edge of the field. Make them think we escaped while they were searching. That would require significant power. I would have to drop the stealth field. For how long? 12 seconds. 12 seconds of visibility. If they were looking our way, we were dead. Do it! The AI didn't hesitate. Our stealth field dropped, and for a heartbeat, we were exposed. Then, at the far edge of the asteroid field, space rippled with the telltale signature of a jump drive engaging. The patrol boats immediately turned, racing toward the false signal. The stealth field snapped back up just as they passed within visual range. They never looked back. We waited in silence for 5 minutes, then 10. Finally, the patrol boats formed up and jumped out, presumably following our false trail. Nice work, I said as systems started coming back online. Thank you, Captain. However, this deception will not hold for long. They will realize they were tricked within hours. Then we'd better be gone by then. I started working on the damaged engine, trying to coax it back to life. Lyra, help me with these calculations. We need a jump vector that'll throw them off our trail. She moved to help, then paused. AI, what should I call you? I have no designation beyond my core process identification. That won't do. Everyone needs a name. Lyra thought for a moment. Aurora, like the lights my mother used to show me in old Earth photos. Aurora, the AI repeated, and somehow made it sound like a smile. I accept this designation. I got the engine running, barely, just as proximity alarms started screaming again. But this time it wasn't Varen patrol boats. It was a ship I recognized, sleek and predatory. Thornvak had found us. Captain Rayner. His voice came over the comm, smooth as poisoned honey. I must commend you on evading the Varen patrols. Very creative. However, I'm afraid your luck has run out. Vak, I'm getting really tired of people threatening me today. No threat, Captain. A simple business proposition. You have something my client wants. I'm authorized to offer you 50,000 credits to walk away. No questions, no consequences. Just take the money and forget this ever happened. 50,000. More than double the original payment. Enough to fix my ship properly. Clear all my debts. Maybe even retire somewhere quiet. I looked at Lyra. She was trying to be brave, but I could see the fear in her eyes. She expected me to take the deal. Why wouldn't I? She was just cargo, after all. Counteroffer, I said. You turn around and forget you found us. And I don't test whether your shields can handle mining explosives at point-blank range. There was a pause. Captain, you're being irrational. The girl is going to die either way. The Varen will never stop hunting her. At least this way. You profit from it. See, that's where you're wrong, I said. Warming up the weapons I definitely wasn't supposed to have. She's not going to die. Not on my watch. You can't protect her forever. Don't have to. Just have to protect her today. Tomorrow's problems can wait until tomorrow. This is foolish, Captain. You're throwing your life away for a lost cause. Wouldn't be the first time. I targeted his engines with the mining laser. You've got 10 seconds to back off. Vac. 10, 9, 8. You're making a mistake, Captain. 7, 6, 5. The girl's father has authorized lethal force. 4, 3, 2. His ship's engines flared to life, pulling back. This isn't over, Captain. I have a reputation to maintain. So do I said. The reputation of being a stubborn bastard who doesn't abandon kids. Now get lost before I decide to make this personal. Vac's ship retreated to a safe distance but didn't jump. He was waiting, watching, looking for an opportunity. He won't give up, Aurora said. Thornvac has never failed to retrieve a target. First time for everything, I said. But I knew she was right. We'd bought ourselves time, nothing more. Cal, Lyra said quietly. Why didn't you take the money, 50,000 credits? You could have been free. Kid, let me tell you something about freedom. It's not about having money or being safe. It's about being able to look at yourself in the mirror without flinching. I've done a lot of things I'm not proud of. Killed people in the war. Smuggled things that probably hurt folks. But I've never sold a child to her death. And I'm not starting now. She was quiet for a moment, then said, We're going to die, aren't we? Maybe. Probably. But here's the thing about humans that the Varen never understood. We're really, really bad at knowing when we're beaten. We'll fight impossible odds just because someone said we couldn't win. It's basically our species-defining trait. Stubborn stupidity in the face of certain doom. That doesn't sound very encouraging. It's not meant to be encouraging. It's meant to be honest. We're probably going to die, but we're going to make them work for it. And who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe we'll find allies. Maybe your mom's AI here has more tricks up her digital sleeves. I have 17 contingency plans, Aurora announced, though most of them have survival probabilities below 12%. See, 12%. Those are practically even odds for a human. Lyra actually laughed at that, a sound that made the whole insane situation worth it. All right, I said, plotting our next jump. Aurora, I need you to mask our jump signature. Make it look like we're heading for Varen space while we actually go the opposite direction. Can you do that? Yes, but it will require significant processing power. I may be offline for several hours afterward. Do it, Lyra. Strap in. This is going to be rough. As we prepared to jump, I caught sight of Voc's ship on the scanner, still watching, still waiting. He'd follow us. I knew. Him and the Varen and probably half the bounty hunters in the sector. We were outnumbered, outgunned, and out of our minds to think we could win. But that's the thing about cargo runs. Sometimes the most valuable thing you can deliver isn't goods or credits or information. Sometimes it's hope. And sometimes, just sometimes, that's enough. The jump drive engaged, tearing us away from Vac and the asteroid field. Aurora's deception worked perfectly, sending false signals in 3 different directions while we dove deep into contested space, toward the war zones that even the Varen avoided. It was dangerous. It was stupid. It was probably going to get us killed. But I looked at Lyra, saw the trust in her eyes, and knew I'd made the right choice. She wasn't cargo. She was a kid who deserved a chance at life, and I was going to give her that chance, or die trying. The universe exploded into light and possibility as we jumped, leaving our hunters behind. For now, the war zone we jumped into was called the Graveyard for a reason. 3 years of brutal fighting between humans and Varen had left it littered with dead ships, unexploded ordnance, and automated defense platforms that didn't care about peace treaties. Most sane pilots avoided it like plague. Good thing I'd never been accused of being sane. Where are we? Lyra asked, staring at the scanner. The display was a mess of debris signatures and radiation warnings. The Battle of Broken Crown, I said, navigating carefully through the floating wreckage of what used to be a Varen dreadnought. Biggest naval engagement of the war? 300 ships went in. 40 came out. And we're here because even Voc won't follow us through this mess. Too many hazards. Too much interference with sensors. We can hide here for a while. Figure out our next move. Aurora had been silent since the jump, her processes still recovering from the strain of deceiving our pursuers. Without her, we were flying half-blind. The ship's standard sensors could barely penetrate the radiation clouds that drifted through the graveyard like ghosts. Cal, Lyra said quietly, that ship over there, it's human, isn't it? I looked where she was pointing. The EDS Manitoba, or what was left of her. I'd known people on that ship. Yeah, kid, it's human.
Did you fight here?
No. I was at Kepler's Gate when this went down. But I heard about it. Everyone did. The day we learned that neither side was really winning this war, just losing at different rates. We drifted deeper into the graveyard, using minimal thrust to avoid detection. The Wayfarer's engine was still running rough from the damage, and every kilometer we traveled felt like borrowed time. Cal, Lyra said suddenly, there's something moving out there. I checked the scanner. She was right. Something was paralleling our course, staying just at the edge of sensor range. Scavenger. Probably, I said. But my hand moved to the weapons console anyway. Lots of them pick through these wrecks looking for salvage. The shadow continued to follow us. Then another appeared, and another. Those aren't scavengers. Aurora's voice suddenly filled the cockpit, weak but urgent. Those are automated Varen hunter-killers, war-era models. They're still active. Shit. I grabbed the controls, but it was too late. The hunter-killers had us surrounded. Unknown vessel. A mechanical voice crackled over the comm. You are in violation of Varen Defense Ordinance 339. Prepare for termination.
Aurora, can you hack them?
Negative. They're running on isolated systems. No external access. The hunter-killers closed in, their weapons charging. These things were designed to kill human ships during the war. They didn't care that the war was over. They just saw a human vessel and defaulted to their programming. Lyra, strap in tight. This is going to get rough. I dove toward the nearest piece of debris, a massive chunk of hull plating from some long-dead battleship. Plasma bolts lit up space behind us, close enough to feel the heat through the hull. The Wayfarer wasn't a fighter. She was a cargo hauler held together by prayer and stubbornness. But I'd flown worse ships through worse situations. Probably. I used the debris field like a three-dimensional maze, ducking behind wreckage, using chunks of armor as impromptu shields. The hunter-killers followed relentlessly, their AI calculating firing solutions with mechanical precision. Cal, the engine's overheating, Lyra reported, reading the displays like she'd been doing it for years. I know. Just a little more. I spotted what I was looking for, a partially intact human destroyer. Its hull cracked open like an egg, but its point defense grid still sparking with residual power. I flew straight at it.
Cal, what are you doing?
Something stupid. Hold on. I fired our mining laser at the destroyer's power core, not to destroy it, but to wake it up. The sudden energy surge triggered the ship's automated defense systems. Suddenly, the space around the destroyer erupted with defensive fire. The hunter-killers, following close behind us, flew right into it. Two of them exploded immediately. The third managed to pull away, damaged but functional. Nice flying, Aurora said. But we have a bigger problem. Of course we do. That energy discharge was visible for light years. Every ship in the system now knows exactly where we are. As if on cue, the proximity alarms started screaming. 3 ships dropping out of jump, then 5, then a dozen. But these weren't Varen patrol boats or bounty hunters. They were pirates, real ones. Not the amateurs who'd attacked us before. The kind who made their living picking the bones of the war dead. Attention, unidentified vessel. A raspy voice came over the comm. This is Captain Harrow of the Bone Merchants. You're in our territory. Surrender your cargo and we might let you leave with your life. I'm getting really tired of people wanting my cargo, I muttered. What cargo could be worth all this? Harrow continued. Let's have a look, shall we? They were scanning us, deep scans that went through our hull like it was tissue paper. There was no hiding what Lyra was. Not from equipment that's sophisticated. There was a long pause. Then Harrow laughed, a sound like grinding metal. Well, a hybrid. Do you have any idea what she's worth on the black market? Captain the Varen want her dead. But there are others who'd pay fortune for a live specimen. Medical corporations, weapons developers, collectors of the exotic. She's not for sale, I said. Everything's for sale, Captain. It's just a matter of price. Tell you what, I'm feeling generous. I'll give you 10% of what we get for her. That's more than fair. Counteroffer, you leave us alone and I don't turn your fleet into a new addition to this graveyard. More laughter. You're one damaged cargo hauler against 13 armed pirates. You can't possibly win. You're right, I said. I can't. But I can make sure you don't either. I brought up the ship's self-destruct system. It was a bluff, mostly. The system had been broken for years, but they didn't know that. I've got 3 containers of mining explosives in my hold, I lied. Plus, a cracked reactor core that's one bad decision away from going critical. You fire on us, we all die. You try to board us, we all die. You annoy me much more. And guess what? We all die. You're bluffing.
Am I? I'm already a dead man.
The Varen want me dead. Every bounty hunter in the sector wants me dead. Now you want to steal the only thing I'm protecting. What exactly do I have to lose? There was silence on the comm. I could imagine the pirates running calculations, weighing profit against risk.
You can't run forever,
Harrow finally said.
And you can't stay here. The radiation will cook you within days.
He was right about that. The Wayfarer's shielding wasn't designed for this level of exposure. We were already taking more rads than was healthy. Then I guess we'd better get moving, I said, and hit the throttle. It was insane, flying at full speed through a debris field while radiation ate at our shields, and pirates tracked our every move. But sometimes, insane is all you've got.
Cal,
Lyra said,
I'm scared.
Good. Means you're paying attention. Being scared is fine, kid. It's what you do while you're scared that matters.
What do you do?
Usually something stupid that somehow works out. I paused. Or gets me shot. It's about 50-50. Despite everything, she laughed. This kid was tougher than she looked. We played cat and mouse with the pirates for 2 hours. Neither side willing to make the first move. They couldn't risk destroying their prize, and I couldn't fight 13 ships. It was a standoff that couldn't last. Then Aurora spoke up. Captain, I've been analyzing the debris field. There's a pattern to the radiation bursts. They're not random. Something is generating them.
Something like what?
Unknown, but the source is approximately 3 kilometers ahead. It appears to be singing. Broadcasting on multiple frequencies in a complex harmonic pattern. It's quite beautiful, actually. Great. Space was trying to kill us and the AI was getting poetic. But as we got closer, I heard it too. Through the static and interference, something was indeed singing. Not words, just tones, but hauntingly beautiful. It reminded me of whale songs from old Earth documentaries.
Cal,
Lyra whispered.
I know that song. My mother used to hum it.
Before I could respond, space in front of us shimmered and a ship appeared. Not jumped in, just appeared. Like it had been there all along and we just hadn't been able to see it. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen. Organic curves instead of hard edges. Bioluminescent panels that pulsed with soft light. It was beautiful and alien and impossible. Greetings, young one, a voice said, speaking directly to Lyra. We have been waiting for you.
Who are you?
Lyra asked.
We are the shepherds. Your mother was our friend. She told us that one day her daughter would need our help. That day has come.
The pirates had gone silent. Even they knew better than to mess with shepherds. They were legends, maybe myths. A species so advanced they'd transcended the need for violence, but so powerful that no one dared attack them. The child is under our protection now, the shepherd ship announced, broadcasting on all frequencies. Any who would harm her will answer to us. One by one, the pirate ships started jumping out. Harrow was the last to leave, but even he wasn't stupid enough to challenge the shepherds. Your ship is damaged, the shepherd said. Allow us to assist. A beam of light enveloped the Wayfarer. Suddenly, Every warning light went dark. The engine smoothed out. The radiation damage reversed itself. In seconds, my broken-down cargo hauler was running better than she had in years. "Thank you," I managed. "No, Captain Rayner. Thank you. You chose to protect her when you had every reason not to. That speaks well of your species." "How do you know my mother?" Lyra asked. Sarah Morgan was a remarkable woman. She helped us understand humanity during the war, served as a bridge between species. In return, we promised to watch over her daughter if needed. "Morgan," I said, "you said your mother's name was Chen." "That was her maiden name," Lyra explained. "She used it when she was hiding us." The shepherd ship moved closer. "We can take you to safety, young one. There are places even the Varen cannot reach." Lyra looked at me, then back at the ship. "What about Cal?" "The captain has his own path to walk." This was it. The smart play. Let the shepherds take her somewhere safe. Somewhere her father could never find her. She'd be protected, cared for. She'd have a chance at a real life. "It's okay, kid," I said. "Go with them. They can keep you safe." She was quiet for a long moment. Then she shook her head. "No." "Lyra." "No. My mother chose you to be my guardian. Aurora chose you. And now I choose you." She looked at the shepherd ship. "Thank you for your offer. But I'm staying with Cal." "Are you certain the path ahead will be dangerous?" "I'm certain." There was something that might have been approval in the shepherd's voice. "Very well. But know that our offer stands. When you need us, call and we will come." The ship shimmered and began to fade. "Wait," I called out. "The Varen have some kind of kill code in my ship. If we leave their territory—" "Not anymore," the shepherd said. "We have removed all such restrictions. Your ship is truly yours now. Captain, use it well." And then they were gone, leaving us alone in the graveyard with a repaired ship and more questions than answers. "You should have gone with them," I said. "Probably," Lyra agreed. "But my mother used to say that the safe choice isn't always the right choice." "Your mother sounds like she was either very wise or very reckless." "Both, I think, like someone else I know." Aurora's voice filled the cockpit. "I'm detecting multiple jump signatures at the edge of the system. Varen military vessels. They're conducting a grid search. How long before they find us?" "At current search pattern, approximately 6 hours." 6 hours. Not much time to plan our next move. "Lyra, you said your mother was from Colony 17. You ever been there?" "Once, when I was very young. She had a friend there, Dr. Marcus Webb. He helped design the process that created me." "Created?" She nodded. "I wasn't an accident, Cal. My mother and father, they wanted to prove that humans and Varen could coexist, could even love each other. I was supposed to be proof that peace was possible. Instead, I became proof of how much they fear change." The weight of that revelation settled over the cockpit. This kid wasn't just a hybrid. She was a symbol, a living challenge to everything the Varen believed about racial purity. "No wonder your father wants you dead," I said. "You're not just an embarrassment. You're a threat to their entire worldview." My mother said the same thing. She said that's why I had to survive. Not just for myself, but for everyone who believes things can be different. "No pressure or anything." She smiled sadly. "I'm 9 years old and I have a death sentence on my head. Pressure is kind of relative at this point." 9. Jesus. I kept forgetting how young she was. The way she talked, the way she handled herself. It was easy to forget I was protecting a child. "All right," I said, plotting a course. "Colony 17 it is. But we're going to have to be smart about this. The direct route will be watched. We'll have to take the long way, through independent systems." "That will take weeks," Aurora calculated. "You got somewhere else to be." "Captain," Aurora said, "there's something you should know. The shepherds didn't just remove the kill code. They upgraded my processing capabilities. I can now access certain classified Varen databases.
How classified? I now have access to shipping manifests, patrol schedules, and, she paused, personal communications from Overseer Caney. Lyra's father?
Yes. He's not just hunting us, Captain. He's mobilizing the entire Fifth Fleet. Over 100 ships, all to catch one little girl.
He must really hate me, Lyra said quietly.
On the contrary, Aurora said.
According to his private communications, he's terrified of you, of what you represent. He calls you the anomaly that could destroy everything we've built.
Good, I said.
Let him be scared. Fear makes people stupid, and stupid makes them vulnerable. You sound like you have a plan, Lyra said. I always have a plan. It's usually terrible, but it's still a plan. I turned to look at her. Your mother taught you about your heritage, right? Both sides.
Yes.
She said I needed to understand both parts of myself.
Good. Because we're going to need every advantage we can get. Aurora, start teaching her everything you know about Varen technology and protocols. If we're going to survive this, we need to fight smart.
And what will you teach her? Aurora asked.
What I know best. How to be too stubborn to die.
The proximity alarms chimed. A single ship had broken from the search pattern and was heading our way. Not a patrol boat, but a heavy cruiser. The kind that could vaporize us without breaking a sweat. They found us, Lyra asked. No, Aurora said, analyzing the signature. That's not a standard Varen vessel. It's been modified, and it's broadcasting a diplomatic code. The comm system crackled to life.
Captain Rayner, a familiar voice said. This is Thornvac. I'm coming aboard. Don't shoot. We need to talk. Like hell you are. Captain, please. I'm not here as a bounty hunter. I'm here because things have changed. The Overseer isn't just hunting his daughter anymore. He's issued a general extermination order for all human Varen hybrids. There are hundreds of them, Captain, hidden throughout the galaxy, and they're all going to die unless someone stops him.
I looked at Lyra. Her face had gone pale.
There are others like me, many others,
Vok confirmed.
Your mother wasn't the only one who fell in love across species lines. But you're the only one whose father is in a position to commit genocide. This changed everything. We weren't just running for one life anymore. We were running for hundreds.
Cal, Lyra said quietly, we have to help them.
Of course we did. Because apparently, I wasn't just a cargo hauler anymore. I was a guardian. And guardians protect those who need protecting, even when it's impossible.
Vok, I said into the comm, you've got 5 minutes to convince me not to blow you out of space. Make them count.
The game had changed. It wasn't just about getting Lyra to safety anymore. It was about stopping a genocide. And somehow, a broken-down cargo hauler, a 9-year-old girl, and a bounty hunter with a conscience were the only ones in a position to try. Thornvac didn't look like a bounty hunter who'd had a change of heart. He looked like a man who hadn't slept in days. His usually pristine armor was scorched and dented, and his 4 arms moved with the careful precision of someone nursing injuries. He'd come aboard alone, no weapons, hands visible. That took either courage or desperation, maybe both. Start talking, I said, keeping my rifle trained on him. The Overseer has lost his mind, Vok said without preamble. The existence of his hybrid daughter was leaked to the High Council 3 days ago. Rather than face disgrace, he's convinced them that all hybrids are a biological weapon created by humans to infiltrate Varen society.
That's insane, Lyra said from behind me.
Yes, Vok agreed. But fear makes people believe insane things. The Council has authorized a complete purge. Every hybrid in known space is to be terminated within the next 72 hours.
Why do you care? I asked.
Last I checked, you were happy to deliver Lyra to her death for a payday. Vak's mandibles clicked, a sign of agitation in his species. I have a code, Captain. I hunt criminals, not children. When I took this job, I was told the girl was a dangerous fugitive. I've since learned the truth. And I've also learned that my own daughter is on the termination list. That stopped me cold. Your daughter? My mate was human, he said quietly. We kept it secret, raised our daughter as pure Krellin, but the Overseer's new scanning protocols will find her. They'll find all of them. I lowered the rifle slightly. So what do you want from us? An alliance. You have something the Overseer fears, something that makes him irrational. I have resources, connections, and intelligence on Varen operations. Together, we might be able to stop this. Might. The alternative is certain death for hundreds of innocents. I'd rather take bad odds than no odds at all. I looked at Lyra. She was studying Vac with those two wise eyes of hers. He's telling the truth, Aurora announced. I'm monitoring his vitals. No deception indicators. Can you reach out to the other hybrids? Lyra asked Vac. Warn them. Some of them. But warning them won't be enough. They need somewhere to run to. And right now, every port in Varen space is being locked down. An idea was forming in my head. A terrible, dangerous, probably suicidal idea. My favorite kind. Aurora, you said you can access Varen databases now. Can you get into their military command structure? Potentially, but it would require being much closer to a command node. Why? Because we're going to need to be inside their system to pull this off. Vac, your ship is Varen registered, right? Modified, but yes. Good. We're going to need it. I turned to Lyra. Remember what I said about being too stubborn to die time for your first lesson. 3 hours later, we were approaching the Varen border checkpoint in Vac's ship, with the Wayfarer's debt hidden in a sensor-blind spot among some asteroids. I was dressed in stolen Varen contractor gear. Lyra was hidden in a smuggling compartment that Aurora had masked from scanners. And Vac was playing the part of a bounty hunter, bringing in a prize. Identification, the checkpoint officer demanded over comm. Hunter license 0094, Vac responded smoothly, bringing in a terrorist sympathizer for questioning. Wasn't aware we had any human contractors authorized for entry. Special dispensation from Overseer Caney himself, Vac lied. The human has information about hybrid locations. There was a pause. Then, proceed to Platform 7 for inspection. My heart was pounding as we docked. This was insane. We were flying directly into enemy territory, betting everything on Aurora's ability to fool their systems and Vac's reputation getting us past scrutiny. The inspection team boarded, their scanner sweeping everything. When they reached the compartment where Lyra was hidden, I held my breath. The scanner beeped green. Aurora's masking held. You're clear, the inspector said. But be aware, there's a mandatory assembly in 6 hours. All personnel are to report to the Grand Atrium for an important announcement from the Overseer. Understood, Vac said. As soon as they left, I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. That was too easy, I muttered. Agreed, Aurora said. They're planning something. We proceeded toward the capital station, a massive structure that housed the Varen High Council. It was like flying into the mouth of a beast, all angles and edges and hostile architecture. Aurora, can you access their systems from here? Working on it. Their encryption is interesting. Give me time. Time was something we didn't have much of. Every hour that passed meant more hybrids discovered and killed. We docked at a commercial port. Just 3 more visitors among thousands. But I could feel the tension in the air. Security was everywhere. Armed guards at every checkpoint. Scanners on every corner. We need to get to a command terminal, Vac said. Level 94, government sector. That's restricted access. I know someone who can help. Maybe. His someone turned out to be a Varen technician named Korvax, who owed Vac a favor from years back. He was nervous, constantly looking over his shoulder. But he got us past the security checkpoints. This is insane, Korvax whispered as we entered the government sector. "If they catch us, they won't," Vak assured him. "Just get us to a terminal and you can disappear." The terminal was in a maintenance room, unused and forgotten. Aurora immediately went to work, her consciousness flooding into the Varen network.
"Oh my," she said after a moment. "This is worse than we thought." "How much worse?"
"The Overseer isn't just planning to kill the hybrids. He's planning to blame it on human terrorists. He's going to stage attacks, make it look like the hybrids were sleeper agents. It'll restart the war."
"Can you stop it?"
"Not from here. I need access to the primary command node. That's in the Grand Atrium, where everyone would be gathering in less than 4 hours for the Overseer's announcement."
"It's a trap," Lyra said, emerging from her hiding spot. "He knows we're here. He's counting on us trying to stop him."
"How could he know?"
She touched her temple. "I can feel him. My father. We're connected somehow, through our shared blood. He's been tracking me since we crossed the border."
"Why didn't you say something?"
"Because I'm tracking him too, and I know his weakness."
"Which is?"
"Pride. He needs to make an example of me publicly, to prove his loyalty to Varen ideology. He won't kill me in secret. He'll want an audience."
"That's not a weakness, kid. That's a death sentence."
"Not if we use it against him." She looked at Aurora's interface. "Can you broadcast from the Grand Atrium, override their systems?"
"Theoretically, but I'd need a direct connection to their broadcast node."
"Then that's what we'll give you." Lyra turned to me. "Cal, I need you to trust me. I have a plan." "Does it involve us probably dying?"
"Almost certainly."
"Then it sounds like one of mine. Let's hear it." Her plan was elegant in its simplicity, and terrifying in its requirements. We would walk into the trap, let ourselves be captured, and use the Overseer's need for public vindication against him.
"He'll put me on trial,"
Lyra explained. "Public execution of the first known hybrid, broadcast across Varen space. But when he does, Aurora will hijack the broadcast. We'll show them the truth about the hybrids, about how they're not weapons but children, and we'll expose his lies." "They'll kill us the moment we try?" "Maybe. But the message will already be sent. And sometimes, Cal, the message matters more than the messenger."
9 years old and talking about martyrdom. What had this universe come to? "There's another way," Vak said slowly. "The Overseer won't be expecting me to betray him publicly. I could challenge him to ritual combat." "He'd destroy you," I said. "He's got decades of military experience." "Perhaps. But under Varen law, if I challenge him regarding a matter of honor involving his family, he can't refuse. And the combat would be broadcast live."
"That's suicide."
"No," Vak said, looking at Lyra. "It's redemption."
We spent the next 3 hours preparing. Aurora created hidden subroutines throughout the Varen network, ready to activate on command. Vak contacted what allies he had, warning them to be ready. And I taught Lyra how to use a concealed emergency beacon, just in case.
"Whatever happens," I told her, "you run. You get to the Wayfarer and you run. Aurora can pilot if needed."
"I'm not leaving you."
"Kid, no. We do this together or not at all. That's what family does." Family. When had we become that?
The Grand Atrium was packed with thousands of Varen, all come to witness the Overseer's announcement. We entered through different routes. Vak through the main entrance, me through service corridors, Lyra hidden in a maintenance drone that Aurora controlled.
I watched from the shadows as Overseer Caney took the stage. He was exactly what I'd expected: tall, commanding, with the kind of presence that made people kneel. But I could see the strain in his movements, the desperation beneath the authority. "Citizens of the Empire," he began, his voice echoing through the chamber. "We face a threat unlike any before. The humans have created abominations, mixing their inferior genetics with ours to create sleeper agents. These hybrids walk among us, waiting to strike." The crowd murmured, fear rippling through them like a wave. "But we will not be victims." Caney continued. We will strike first. Every hybrid will be found and eliminated, starting with the first of their kind, my own corrupted offspring. That was our cue. Lyra emerged from the maintenance drone, walking calmly toward the stage. The crowd gasped, pulling back as if she were diseased. Hello, Father, she said, her young voice somehow carrying across the entire atrium. Caney's composure cracked for just a moment. Seize her! Guards moved forward, but Vok stepped out, blocking their path. I invoke the right of challenge, he announced. Overseer Caney has dishonored his family name by condemning his own blood. I demand satisfaction. The crowd went silent. The right of challenge was ancient, sacred. Even an overseer couldn't refuse. You dare, Caney snarled. I dare. While everyone was focused on the brewing combat, I moved to the broadcast node. Aurora needed a direct connection, and I was going to give her one. The fight began with ceremonial weapons, curved blades that sang through the air. Vok was good, better than I'd expected. But Caney was a master. They danced across the stage, strikes and parries almost too fast to follow. Cal, now, Aurora whispered through my earpiece. I jammed my interface spike into the broadcast node. Aurora flooded in, taking control of every screen, every speaker, every communication device in Varen space. Citizens of the Empire, Aurora's voice rang out. But it wasn't just her voice. It was overlaid with another, familiar and warm. I am Dr. Sarah Morgan, mother of Lyra, mate of Overseer Caney, and I have a story to tell you. The screens filled with images Sarah and Caney during the peace negotiations, working together, laughing together, then later, holding their newborn daughter, Caney's face, soft with wonder. We loved each other. The recording of Sarah continued. Despite everything, we found love. Our daughter was not a weapon but a bridge, proof that our species could coexist. But fear poisoned that dream. More images, other hybrids, living normal lives, children playing, families together. These are not your enemies, Aurora, Sarah said. They are your neighbors, your friends, your family. Don't let fear turn you into murderers. Caney roared in rage, his blade finding its mark. Vok stumbled, blood flowing from a deep wound. Lies, Caney shouted. All lies. Then let me show them the truth, Lyra said, stepping forward. She touched her father's hand, and something extraordinary happened. Their connection, the one that had let him track her, suddenly reversed. His thoughts, his memories, flooded into the broadcast. Everyone saw it, Caney's love for Sarah, his joy at Lyra's birth, and then his fear when his political rivals discovered the truth. They saw him choose power over family, saw him order Sarah's death, saw him condemn his own daughter to save his position. I loved you, Lyra said softly, tears streaming down her face. Even knowing what you'd done. I loved you, because you're my father. But I won't let you commit genocide to hide your shame. Caney stood frozen, his entire life laid bare before his people. The crowd was silent, processing what they'd seen. Then someone started slow clapping. Magnificent performance, a cold voice said. We all turned to see Commander Terra entering with a full military escort. But, ultimately irrelevant, the High Council anticipated this possibility. Overseer Caney, you are relieved of command for compromising yourself with the enemy. Commander, Caney started. As for the hybrids, Terra continued. The extermination order stands. They are genetic anomalies that threaten our purity. Guards, kill them all. The guards raised their weapons, targeting Lyra, Vok, and me. That's when the lights went out. In the darkness, Aurora's voice whispered from every speaker. Did you really think I came alone? Emergency lighting kicked in, revealing figures in the crowd throwing back cloaks. Shepherds, dozens of them, their bioluminescent skin glowing softly. The child is under our protection, they announced in unison. As are all the hybrids. Any who would harm them will face the consequences.
You have no authority here,
Tara snarled. We have something better, the lead shepherd said. We have the override codes for every Veyron military vessel, obtained during the war and kept as insurance. Proceed with your genocide, and your entire fleet will be permanently disabled. It was a standoff. The Veyron had numbers, but the shepherds had technology that made numbers irrelevant. Additionally, Aurora added, still controlling the broadcast systems, I've transmitted all evidence of the Overseer's crimes and the planned genocide to every major news network, government, and military organization in known space. The galaxy is watching, Commander. What you do next will define how history remembers the Veyron. Tara stood perfectly still, calculating. Around us, the crowd was stirring, some angry, some confused, many simply shocked by what they'd witnessed. Then, a small voice spoke up from the crowd. I'm a hybrid too. A young Veyron stepped forward, removing a hollow disguise to reveal human features mixed with Veyron. So am I, another said.
And I...
One by one, dozens of hybrids in the crowd revealed themselves. They'd been hiding in plain sight, living as full Veyron, and no one had known. You see, Lyra said, addressing the crowd, we're not invaders. We're your children, your neighbors, your friends. We're not asking for special treatment, just the right to exist. The crowd was wavering. I could see it in their faces, the fear fighting with recognition, prejudice warring with the evidence of their own eyes. That's when Caney did something unexpected. He dropped his weapon and walked to his daughter. I was wrong, he said, his voice carrying across the atrium. I let fear and ambition poison everything good in my life. I killed the woman I loved and condemned my own child. He turned to face the crowd. The hybrids are not our enemies. They are living proof that we can be better than our hatred. I withdraw the extermination order. You don't have that authority anymore, Tara said. No, Caney agreed, but I have this. He pulled out a datapad and began typing. I'm transmitting everything. Every secret, every lie, every crime committed by the High Council in the name of racial purity. If you want to destroy the hybrids, you'll have to explain to the galaxy why you also destroyed entire colonies that showed sympathy to humans, why you experimented on your own people to create biological weapons, why you assassinated peace advocates. You're destroying everything we've built, Tara shouted. No, Caney said quietly. I'm trying to save it. We can choose to be better. We can choose to evolve. Or we can cling to our hatred and watch our civilization tear itself apart. The atrium erupted in arguments, Veyron turning on Veyron as long-buried tensions exploded into the open. In the chaos, I grabbed Lyra and started moving toward the exit. We need to go, now. Vac, despite his injuries, moved with us. My ship, Docking Bay 7. We ran through corridors filled with confused and arguing Veyron. Some tried to stop us. Others actually helped. And most simply stood frozen, unsure what to believe anymore. We reached Vac's ship just as security forces started to reorganize. As we prepared to launch, Caney appeared at the docking bay entrance. Wait, he called out. I raised my weapon, but Lyra put her hand on my arm. Caney approached slowly, hands visible. When he reached us, he knelt before his daughter. I don't ask for forgiveness, he said. I don't deserve it. But know that I will spend whatever time I have left fighting for your right to exist. All of you. Lyra studied him for a long moment. Then she hugged him. It lasted only seconds, but I saw something break in Kane's eyes. When they separated, he handed her a datapad. Locations of all known hybrids. Get them to safety. I'll buy you as much time as I can. Father. Go. Be better than I was. We launched as security forces flooded the bay. Caney stood between them and us, using his authority to delay pursuit. As we cleared the station, Aurora reported, The shepherds are evacuating hybrids across Veyron space. The galactic community is demanding answers. Several human colonies are offering sanctuary. And the Varen, in chaos. The revelation has split them completely. This could lead to civil war. Or transformation, Lyra said quietly. Sometimes things have to break before they can heal. Vax set course for the Wayfarer's hiding spot. Where to now, Captain? I looked at Lyra. Colony 17. She shook her head. Not yet. There are other hybrids who need help. We have Father's list. We know where they are. You want to run a rescue operation? I want to give them what you gave me. A choice. A chance. I laughed. Despite everything. From cargo to Guardian in 1 week. That's got to be some kind of record. I had a good teacher, she said, smiling. As we approached the Wayfarer's debt, I saw a dozen other ships gathering. Some were human. Some were Varen. Some were species I didn't recognize. But they all broadcasted the same message. We stand with the hybrids. Looks like we're starting a movement, Vok observed. Looks like, I agreed. The revolution had begun. Not with armies or fleets, but with one child refusing to be cargo, refusing to be silent, refusing to disappear. And somehow, against all odds, that was enough to change everything. The blast came out of nowhere. One moment we were approaching the Wayfarer's debt, surrounded by allied ships, feeling like maybe we'd actually won something. The next, a Varen stealth fighter materialized off our starboard bow and opened fire. The shot tore through Vok's ship like paper. I heard metal scream, felt the gravity fail, tasted blood in my mouth as something sharp found my ribs. Then we were spinning, venting atmosphere, falling toward the asteroid field below. Cal Lyra's voice, distant and frightened. I tried to answer, but my lungs weren't working right. Through the spinning viewport, I saw the stealth fighter lining up for another shot. This one would finish us. Then the fighter exploded. The Wayfarer's debt rose from the asteroid field, her mining laser still glowing from the shot. Aurora had taken control, turned my broken cargo hauler into an avenging angel. Hold on, Vok grunted, fighting the controls with 3 arms while his 4th hung useless. This is going to be rough. We crashed into the asteroid, the impact throwing me into darkness. I woke up in the Wayfarer's medical bay with Lyra standing over me, her small hands glowing with a soft blue light. It took me a moment to realize what I was seeing. She was using her Varen abilities, the ones she'd inherited from her father, to heal me. Don't try to move, she said, concentration etched on her young face. The metal went deep, almost hit your heart. How long? 3 days. We've been running silent in the asteroid field while you healed. Vok. Alive. Angry about his ship, but alive. I tried to sit up and immediately regretted it. Pain shot through my chest like lightning. I said don't move, Lyra scolded, sounding exactly like her mother probably had. You humans are terrible patients. We're also terrible at dying, I wheezed. Where are we? Still in the graveyard. Aurora's been monitoring communications. The Varen Empire is in civil war. Father's revelation split them completely. Half want to maintain the old ways. Half want reform. They're too busy fighting each other to hunt us. Your father, her expression darkened. Under arrest for treason. Scheduled for execution in 2 days. I'm sorry, kid. He made his choice. At least he made the right one in the end. Aurora's voice filled the room. Captain, you should know that we've received over 200 responses to our broadcast. Hybrids from across the galaxy are reaching out, asking for help. Tell them we're coming, I said, then winced as the movement sent fresh pain through my chest. Cal, Lyra said quietly, we can't save them all. We're one ship and you're hurt. Then we save who we can, one at a time if we have to. She smiled, sad and proud at the same time. Mom would have liked you so much. Over the next week, as I healed, we coordinated with the other ships that had gathered. The movement had a name now, the Bridge Alliance, dedicated to protecting hybrids and promoting unity between species. It was small, maybe 30 ships total, but it was growing. Vac had become our unofficial military coordinator, using his contacts in the bounty hunter community to gather intelligence. Turned out a lot of hunters had hybrid family members they'd been hiding. Funny how personal stakes change your perspective. "We've got a problem," he announced one morning, entering the medical bay, where I was finally able to sit up without screaming. "Commander Tara has consolidated power among the hardliners. She's planning something big."
How big?
"She's gathered the remains of the Fifth Fleet at Terminus Station. Our sources say she's planning to use a weapon from the war, something called the Purifier." Aurora's hologram flickered to life. The Purifier was a prototype genetic weapon designed to target specific DNA sequences. If calibrated for hybrid genetics,
It would kill every hybrid in a 50 light-year radius,
Vac finished.
Can we stop it?
"Not with 30 ships against a fleet. We'd need an army. Or," Lyra said thoughtfully, "we'd need to make sure it never fires." We all looked at her. "The Purifier needs a genetic template to work, right? It needs to know what to target." "Theoretically, yes," Aurora confirmed.
Then they need a hybrid, a live one, for real-time genetic sampling. She stood up straighter. They need me.
"Absolutely not," I said immediately.
Think about it. I'm the first known hybrid, the daughter of Overseer Caney. I'm the perfect template. They'll have to bring me to the weapon.
"Where you'll be killed immediately. Not if they need me alive for the weapon to work, and not if we have a plan."
The plan she outlined was insane. It involved infiltrating Terminus Station, sabotaging the Purifier, and broadcasting evidence of the attempted genocide to the entire galaxy. It required split-second timing, incredible luck, and me being able to walk without collapsing.
"I hate this plan," I said when she finished. "But you'll do it." I looked at this 9-year-old girl who'd been cargo just 2 weeks ago, who'd lost everything but kept fighting, who'd chosen hope over safety again and again.
"Yeah, kid, I'll do it."
The approach to Terminus Station was the easy part. We let ourselves be captured. I'd sent out a message claiming I was ready to turn Lyra over for the right price. Commander Tara herself responded, offering me a full pardon and enough credits to buy a small moon. All I had to do was deliver the hybrid. We arrived in the Wayfarer's Det, just a broken-down cargo hauler with a greedy captain and his prize. They scanned us, found Lyra, and immediately took us both into custody. They didn't find Aurora, who had compressed herself into a data chip hidden in my false tooth. They didn't find the microscopic transmitters Vac had planted on us. And they didn't know that the Bridge Alliance fleet was hiding just outside sensor range, waiting for our signal. Commander Tara met us in the station's command center, a cold smile on her face. "Captain Rayner, I'm surprised you lasted this long."
"Money's a powerful motivator," I said, playing my part.
"Indeed. Though I'm afraid there's been a change in plans. You won't be leaving the station."
"That wasn't the deal."
"The deal was a lie. Captain, you're a race traitor. Your fate was sealed the moment you chose the hybrid over your own kind." She turned to Lyra. "As for you, abomination, you're going to help us cleanse the galaxy of your kind."
"I won't help you,"
Lyra said. "You won't have a choice." Tara gestured to a massive machine in the center of the room, the Purifier. It looked like a mechanical spider, all angles and needles and glowing tubes. "Once you're connected, your genetic code will be transmitted to every Veyron ship in the fleet. One synchronized pulse, and every hybrid in range dies."
"That's genocide."
"That's survival. Your kind threatens the purity of all species. You're walking contamination."
They dragged Lyra toward the machine. I tried to fight, but a guard's stun baton put me on my knees.
"Wait," Lyra said. "Before you kill me, I want to know something. Do you really believe we're contamination, or are you just afraid?" Tara paused.
"What?"
"You're afraid that if species can interbreed, if we can love each other and create new life, then all your beliefs about superiority are wrong. You're afraid that you're not special, just different." Silence. You're afraid that my father loved my mother more than he loved the Empire. You're afraid that love is stronger than hatred. Tara slapped her, the sound echoing through the chamber. Connect her to the machine. Now. As they forced Lyra into the purifier's embrace, I activated Aurora. The AI exploded from her hiding place, flooding into the station systems like water through a broken dam. Hello, Commander. Aurora's voice echoed from every speaker. Did you know this station's systems haven't been updated since the war? They're remarkably easy to override. The lights went out. Emergency power kicked in, bathing everything in red. In the chaos, I rolled behind cover and activated my transmitter. Bridge Alliance. This is Raynor. We're inside. Light them up. Outside, 30 ships dropped out of hyperspace and opened fire on the Varen fleet. Not to destroy them, just to keep them busy. Inside, I fought my way toward Lyra, using every dirty trick 20 years of military service had taught me. But there were too many guards, and I was still weak from my injuries. That's when Vac arrived. He came through the wall, literally, his ship ramming into the station's hull and creating his own entrance. Behind him came a dozen bounty hunters, all with hybrid family members, all ready to fight. Thought you could use some help, he said, tossing me a rifle. The command center became a battleground. Varen loyalists against bounty hunters, ideology against family, past against future. Through it all, Lyra remained connected to the purifier. Her face twisted in pain as the machine probed her genetics. Cal, she screamed. I can feel it. It's not just reading me. It's changing me. I fought toward her, but Tara blocked my path, her ceremonial blade singing through the air. You've destroyed everything, she snarled. Good, I replied, dodging her strike. It needed destroying. We fought with desperate fury, her skill against my determination. She was better, faster, trained from birth for combat. But I had something she didn't. I had someone to protect. Her blade found my shoulder, my leg, my ribs. Blood ran freely, mixing with the older wounds that hadn't fully healed. But I kept fighting, kept pushing forward, kept her attention on me, which gave Lyra the opportunity she needed. Aurora, she gasped. Reverse the polarity. Don't let it read me. Make me read it. That could kill you, Aurora warned. Do it. Aurora obeyed. The purifier's energy reversed, and suddenly, Lyra wasn't the subject but the controller. Her hybrid nature, the very thing that made her a target, gave her the ability to interface with both Varen and human technology simultaneously. I can see it all, she whispered, her eyes glowing. Every genetic sequence, every DNA strand. The weapon doesn't destroy. It transforms. What? Tara spun toward her, giving me the opening I needed. I shot her in the leg, dropping her to the deck. The purifier was never meant to kill, Lyra continued, her voice carrying across the station's communication system. It was designed to evolve, to take the best of every species and combine them. The scientists who created it believed that unity through biology was the path to peace. She turned to look at us, and her eyes held the wisdom of 1,000 generations. But the military corrupted it, turned evolution into extinction. They feared change more than war. Stop her, Tara screamed, but it was too late. Lyra had become one with the machine, and through it, with every system on the station, she showed everyone the truth, the original plans for the purifier, the scientists who'd been killed to keep it secret, the potential for transformation that had been twisted into a tool of genocide. I can activate the original program, she said, not to force change, but to offer it, to give every being the choice to become more than they are. You'll contaminate us all, Tara cried. No, Lyra said softly. I'll free you, from fear, from hatred, from the prison of genetic purity you've built around yourselves. She activated the program. A pulse of energy erupted from the station, spreading outward at the speed of thought. It touched every ship, every station, every inhabited world in range. But it didn't kill. It didn't even change. It simply offered, in that moment, every sentient being felt what Lyra felt: the connection between all living things, the potential for unity without uniformity, the possibility of evolution through cooperation rather than conflict. Some accepted it, some didn't, but everyone understood. The fighting stopped. On the station, in space, across the sector. Weapons lowered as enemies saw each other, not as threats, but as possibilities. "What have you done?" Tara whispered. "What my mother started," Lyra replied, finally stepping away from the machine. "I've built a bridge." The aftermath was chaos, but the good kind. The Veyron Empire split officially, with reformists establishing a new government that recognized hybrid rights. The hardliners retreated to their core worlds, but without popular support, their power waned. Overseer Caney was released and became an advocate for integration, working with the Bridge Alliance to establish safe zones for hybrids and mixed families. Vac returned to bounty hunting, but only took contracts that aligned with his new principles. He and his daughter visited us often. The shepherds revealed themselves fully, offering to share their technology with any species willing to embrace diversity. And Aurora, she found something unexpected in the Purifier's database. "Cal," she said one day as we drifted through space, heading for Colony 17 at last. "I've discovered something about my origins." "Oh, the personality matrix I'm based on. It wasn't just from Lyra's mother. There's another component, added when you acquired this ship." "What kind of component?" "Memory engrams from a soldier who gave up his commission to save refugee children. Someone who chose conscience over career, protection over profit." I felt my blood run cold. "That's impossible." "The shepherds did it. When they knew you'd been court-martialed. They saved a copy of your psychological profile, your memory patterns from your service record. They knew that someday Lyra would need a guardian, so they made sure she had two: her mother's love and your courage, united in me." I looked at Lyra, who was learning to pilot under Vac's instruction. She caught my eye and smiled. That bright, impossible smile that had saved the galaxy. "So we really are family," I said. "The strangest family in the galaxy," Aurora agreed. "A bitter cargo hauler, a hybrid child, and an AI made from their ghosts." "Sounds about right," I laughed. We reached Colony 17 2 weeks later. Dr. Marcus Webb was waiting for us, older and grayer than in the pictures, but with kind eyes that lit up when he saw Lyra. "You look just like your mother," he said, tears running down his face. "I hope I'm like her in more than looks," Lyra replied. "From what I've heard, you've already surpassed her. She wanted to prove peace was possible. You've made it real." He'd prepared a home for us, a small place on the colony's edge where we could rest and recover. But I knew we wouldn't stay long. There were still hybrids who needed help, still bridges to be built, still cargo that was actually people waiting to be free. "So," Lyra asked as we watched the sunset on our first night planetside, "what's next?" "Whatever we want," I said. "We're not running anymore." "Good, because I have a list of hybrid colonies that need supply runs, legitimate cargo work, but with purpose. From guardian to shipping magnate. Why not? Someone has to keep the bridges open." I thought about the journey that had brought us here, from a simple cargo run to a galactic revolution, from a bitter veteran to a father figure, from a piece of cargo to the catalyst for change. "You know," I said, "when I took that job, they told me you were just cargo. And now—" I pulled her into a hug, this remarkable child who'd changed everything. "Now you're home, safe and sound, just like I promised." "No," she said, hugging me back. "We're home, all of us. Even Aurora." "Even Aurora," the AI agreed, her voice warm with something that might have been love. Above us, the stars shone with infinite possibility. Somewhere among them, humans and Veyron and 100 other species were learning to see each other as more than enemies or cargo. They were learning to see each other as family. It wasn't the ending I'd expected when I took that job. But then again, the best cargo runs are the ones that deliver more than you planned. Sometimes they deliver hope. Sometimes they deliver change. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, they deliver you exactly where you need to be. Home.